if it is for 3 months. Describe the limitations of Baby Bush Hotels establishing the maintain of internal audit department. We are talking in terms of limitations. What are the limitations for two limitations, 2 points. Now we can understand. They will give lot of points when we are doing. Describe the directors who like the internal audit department to have as broad as possible, as this will make decisions to recruit an internal audit department and more cost effective. Cost effective is nothing but value for money. Fine. What is the next one? Describe additional functions other than fraud. Is it other than fraud? The directors can ask internal audit department to undertake. Is it right? 5 marks, 5 points. Okay, very specifically, point by point approach we have to take. Is it right? Now, yes, fine. See, 3 marks. The question contains 3 separate requirements. Each requirement is related to the company. So your answers need to be relevant to this organization. Use the information provided to you to help you. For example, you are told there are a cash and inventory discrepancies. Is that means you have to be very specific. Part B and C are worth only 3 and 2 marks respectively. So your answer need to be succinct and consist of correct number of well explained points to score full marks. Fine. Part D worth 5 marks. So assume that 1 mark per function described. Is that you have to describe. Is it right? That's what it says. Fine. Coming back to that. Now you go back to the question what has been given. Okay. Baby Bush Hotels operate a chain of 18 hotels located across the country. Each hotel has bedrooms, restaurants, leisure club. Most visitors to the restaurant are leisure club or hotel guests. However, these facilities are open to the public. Hotel guests are generally charged any cost. No, you cannot have any cost. Is it right? You will have what? You have the price list. Is it? You should have a price list. That's very simple. To their room. But other visitors must make payment directly to the hotel staff. You cannot pay directly to the hotel staff. You have to pay to whom? You have to pay to the responsible staff. Is it? This is point number 2. This is point number 1. During the year, senior management noticed an increased level of cash discrepancies. Definitely, you are going to pay to the hotel staff. Definitely. Not only cash discrepancies, point number 3, is right? Point number 4, there is a inventory discrepancies also. See, this is going to be related to which scenario they are talking in terms of. It is related to question number D. Directors are other than fraud investigation. What directors can ask the internal auditors to perform the task within the organization, and they suspect that some employees are stealing cash, goods from the hotels. Right? They are keen to prevent this of reoccurrence and are considering establishing of a internal audit department to undertake what? Fraud investigation. Means by this you will get the answer what you are expecting to write here. Is it right? The first 2 questions are theoretical. The fourth question, D question, part D is related to the scenario. What other than fraud? They can say they are talking about other than fraud. What the other than fraud investigation? Is it right? Other than fraud investigation. What the internal auditors can do? Is it right? Internal auditors can think about cash. Is it right? Cash controls. Is it right? They can think in terms of what? Inventory controls. Is it right? They think about inventory control. They think about what? They are thinking in terms of establishing an internal audit department. Is it right? They think about what? They think about the facilities. Is it right? They can make it sure that how the facilities will work. They can say that what is the control mechanisms. Is it right? Control mechanisms should be in place. Likewise, they can do other things which are not included in the audit. Fine. This we will come. Is it? Now, what is the first question? First question there, that explain how the new internal audit department will assist the directors in preventing and detecting the fraud. 3 marks, 3 points. Okay, that's, you have to measure it very, very clearly. Is it right? You have to measure it well. What it says, we are dividing. Is that what they say? They are talking about they could first undertake. Is it right? They could say the internal audit department could assist. It is general sentence. Okay, this is only a general sentence. This is nothing we related to the answer as such. Is it right? It is the internal audit department could assist in preventing and detecting the fraud and acting as a detergent in the first instance. Fine. Whenever you are writing the answer, write some basic introductory sentence like that. It means you should also tell them that what is the scenario of the answer you tell them. They could first undertake risk assessment. They are not going directly to the inventory. They are not going directly to the cash. No. First and foremost, what they have to do? First and foremost, what they have to do? First, they have to understand. Is it right? First, they have to plan. Then they have to understand the entity. Then they have to think about what? Risk assessment. Is it? They want to take the risk assessment. First, you have to assess. You have to see. First, this is the process we have to follow. First, you have to plan. Then you have to understand the entity. Then you have to take a risk assessment process. Fine. This is the technical way, mechanical way of approaching the question as such. They want to identify the risk, to undertake risk assessment, to identify what are the risk areas, where the risk is there over cash and inventory. This is the first one. Is it? This is the first point. Second point is what? Second point is what? They could then review the controls. First, they will not review the controls. First, what they will do? They will assess. See, that is what are the 5 control environment steps? Tell me, any idea? What are the 5 control environment components? Is it right? 5 control environment components. I will go back to this. I told you yesterday. Please, where it is there? It is not here. It is not here. It will be where? It will be in chapter 8. Is it right?
The control environments.
Yeah, see, it is there. Is it right? See, exactly we have been landed in the same way. The control environment, risk assessment process, information systems, control activities, monitoring of control. Write down. Take the paper and write down. I will wait for 2 minutes. Take the paper and write down. All 4. Write down 5 components of internal control systems. These are 5 components of internal control systems. The control environment, entity risk assessment process, information systems, control activities, and monitoring of controls. Once it's done, please tell me. Okay. Done. Can I change?
Yes, sir.
Good. Write down. The moment you write down, see, reading 10 times, writing one time is better. Understand point? That is the reason I will very much focus on the examination. That's all. Is it right? Now, fine. This is what are the things? Control environment, risk assessment process, information systems, control activities, and monitoring of control. Fine. Now, where is our lecture? It is there where. Fine. Is it? No. Fine. Yes. Is it? They what they say, point number 2. They could then review the existing controls in place. Is it right? Existing controls in place and recommend improvements to those controls if deficiencies are identified. This is the point number 2. What is the point number 3? Is it right? They also need to test that the controls are working by compliance the testing. It is nothing but what they are doing in the third stage. They are talking about test of controls. Now, what are the three things? They are very, very specific. First, they will assess the risk. Second, they will review the controls. Is it right? They review the existing controls in place for inventory and cash and recommend any improvements. The third one, what they will do? They will do test of controls. Fine. Now, from here onwards, next till the end of the syllabus, we only do this. We are not going to add anything new. We are only working out what we have understood till now. All findings from their work would be reported in writing to the senior management for review and further actions if necessary. See what they have said, very simple. I am putting like this. Is it right? This is the introductory part. Okay. This is the first point. Is it right? This is the second point. Is it right? This is the third point. And this is the conclusion. Khalas. Technically, you have to do this. Is it right? Technically, you have to do this. Is it right? First, we have to take risk assessments. Second, we have to review the controls. Any deficiencies are there, you have to put the recommendations. And the third one is you have to test the controls whether they are working or not. And if there is, and whatever they have did, they have to communicate to the management in writing. Okay, this is the first answer. What is the second part? They are asking us, describe the limitations. Is it right? What are the limitations? Limitations are also two things. Is it right? Limitations are also two things. Fine. Is it? Now, what is the limitations? It says that bush baby hotels have not had an internal department before, so employees doesn't want. See, they're as simple as that. Existing employees doesn't want internal audit because very simple. If internal audit is a headache, they think like that. Okay, and it is a general perception. Okay, if I don't tell like this, you will not understand. Fine. Okay, may not like the idea of observed in their work and being reported on. Fine. Setting up that department will cost. Definitely, what happens? They say that what is the limitation? They say it is a limitation. Cost will increase, but it is not the cost that matters. What is matters is it is the matter of what? Value for money. Is it right? Efficiency, effectiveness, and economy. Fine. Setting up a department will cost a considerable amount, and as there are 18 hotels in the company, the director needs to ensure that they have to recruit adequate number of internal audit staff across. See, internal audit staff, very simple. General any bachelor person can do internal audit. Okay, we don't need require but what happens, they think that yes, cost will increase. Until the department has been set up, existing employees from it is unlikely that the staff recruited will have the knowledge and experience required for the audit. Is it? Now what happens? Unless until, see, what are the limitations? Limitations are there that existing employee will resist. See, you can write this much only. Is it right? You don't need to write big sentences. Is that? I will tell you. Is that if you want to make sure, is it right? You can summarize like that. Is it right? Existing employees resist. Is it? Resist to have an internal audit department. They will give you marks for this. Don't worry about that. Next, if you are second point, is that establishing internal audit department. Internal audit department. I am writing for you. Is it department? You don't say that we have to write this much. Okay. Establish internal audit department will have impact on cost. Okay, we should not write value for money. Okay, next, third one, is it if internal audit department is established, is it right? It established, is it? Existing staff need to be trained. Is it? Need to be trained. Likewise, is it right? I'm writing little bit short, but you have to 1 or 2 sentences. That's very important. Is it right? Furthermore, internal auditors are not required to, if they are not professionally qualified. Is it right? So staff may not be sufficient knowledgeable. Is that fine? You are recruiting people. Okay. You are recruiting people with accounting background, but it doesn't mean that, see, audit is different, accounting is different. Understand the point? Audit is different, accounting is different. The people who have done, okay, if you have done audit course also fine, but what will happen? Definitely professional means a different, you will come under a different category. Okay, this is what it says. Now, internal auditors can never be completely independent. This is the limitation to the best of the limitations. Internal auditors can never be. Why? Because they will not become. They are the employees of the company. Is it right? They are the employees of the company. They are the employees of the company. They are unwilling to. They are unwilling to report serious findings to the senior management. Fine. This is another limitation. Limitation number 4. Again, you can put it. It is a limitation where you can memorize it very easily. Is it right? Now, internal auditors should report to both senior management and with governance. Is it right? Means you have to report to the senior management as well as to the board of directors. Is that? But if this is not the case, management will unduly influence the internal audit plan. Is that if internal auditor is not reporting to the board, is it right? If it is not reporting the board, what will happen? The CEO, management is nothing but CEO and below the people. Okay, these people can influence the internal audit. What are the five limitations of internal audit? The first limitation is existing people will not prefer to have an internal audit department. The second one is internal audit. It will have a cost impact. Is it right? Third one, internal audit. If you are having an internal audit, you will have to train the staff. Is it right? Because all the staffs are not up to the expectation. The fourth one and the most important one is internal auditors will never be independent. Is it right? Because they are the employees of the firm. The fifth one is internal audit has to report both to the management as well as to the board of governance. Is it right? That is one of the limit. Is it clear? You have to write any two. Fine. You have to write any two. Now you understand when you are doing the PowerPoint presentations, lecture presentation, PPTs, we have so many. But in the examination, they are very, very specific. Is it right? Now, what the management can ask, okay? What the management can ask internal auditors to do the job apart from fraud and investigation. Is it right? To my knowledge, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Internal auditor could undertake value for money audit. This is very, very reviews. Okay, VFM. Is it right? Whenever you come across internal auditor question, it will be there. Make it a point. It will be there. You have to very structurally present it. Looking at the economy, efficiency and effectiveness of the activities. Fine. This is as we have now. You cannot give an excuse. Very simple. Is it right? That we didn't have value for money audit. Internal auditors could perform which type of audit? They can perform IT audits. Is it right? See how they are making a point. They are making the things very simple. One point they have put IT audit. One point they put financial audit. One point they put operational audit. They covered all. They covered the important things. They didn't mix up the things. Is it right? This is what the secret success points of auditing. You have to pass. You have to be very, very specific. Take one point. They can conduct IT audit for the computer system. They can conduct financial audit, substantive procedures and test of controls. Is it right? In terms of cash. They can conduct operational audit in terms of operating procedures. Fine. These three. Now you can have the thing. What are the internal auditor will do apart from the internal controls? They will do for value for money. They will do operational audits, IT audits, financial audits. And internal audit are also what they will do? They will do the compliance with law, compliance audit. Is it right? The regulations. Is it right? Whether the company is following rules and regulations. Internal audit also perform what? They perform the feedback. Understand right? They will take the feedback they will do the surveys and they will take the feedback. 6 points. Remember this. Is it right? Remember this. The first one they will do for value for money audit. The second one they do IT audit. Third one they do fine. I'm not seeing. Wait, trust me. The third one they will do financial audit. Fourth one they will do operational audit. The fifth one they will do compliance audit. And the sixth one they will take the feedbacks. Is it right? They will do the surveys. This much is there in this lecture. Understand point? This much. One question will be there. Okay? Be very specific. Is it right? Be very specific. What we are going to do is that just very quickly, very fast. Is it right? What we have done, we are talking in terms of the definition of internal audit in relation to what? In relation to the corporate governance. Fine. And what are the internal audit functions? Is it right? It reports to the board, experts. They are experts and they are liaising with the external auditors. They gave the difference between internal audit and external audit. Is it right? Fine. That's all. Is it right? And what is the scope of internal audit? They are talking about identifying the business risk. Is it right? Business risk. There are three elements of business risk: financial risk, operational risk, and compliance risk. IT risk they have not mentioned here. Is it right? They are talking about the business factors, and subsequently what is the limitations of internal audit and how it will be function value for money audit as such. Is it right? And what will happen with respect to outsourcing? Is it right? What will happen with respect to outsourcing. The moment you are going to outsource, there are some advantages and there are some disadvantages. Where we have done that? Where is the concept of outsourcing? Here, is it right? Let's go outsourcing. What are the advantages of outsourcing? What are the disadvantages of outsourcing? Very simple, very easy way of understanding. Okay. Now, when I am giving you a question, next quiz, is it right? Inshallah, the moment this is over, I will give you a next quiz. Next quiz, till whatever we have completed till tomorrow, it will be there. Is it right? At least it will be till internal audit, it will be there. Inshallah. Is it okay? I have divided procedures. Is it right? I have divided procedures under 3, 6, 5 or 6 lectures. Is it right? It having every lecture will have 30 slides. Is it right? Every lecture will have 30 slides. Why I have divided? It makes sense. Lecture 10, lecture 11, lecture 12. Is it right? 12. Is right? Lecture 10 is having various different types of procedures for receivables, procedure for cash, procedure for payables, procedure for non-current assets, procedures for inventory. Is it right? Procedures for equity. Is it? You have different procedures are there. Is it right? I have segregated the lecture 10. That is the reason I put 10 A, B, C, D, E. Somewhat it is there. Okay. So today we will complete this. It's a very small one. Small lectures, very simple. What we are doing is it right? What we are going to do is when we come across auditing non-current assets, what is the approach we should adopt? Exclusively non-current assets. Understand? Exclusively. Now, when you do the non-current assets, what is there? What are the things we are going to? We want an evidence. Very simple. Is it right? We want the evidence in relation. Without evidence. Physical as well as register. When you have a non-current assets, now I will tell you. First and foremost, you have to make sure that there will be a non-current register. Is it? I will put the date here, 8/11/2022. I got one idea just now. Okay, inshallah, you 4 will pass. That I can assure you. I can, inshallah. Is it right? Just see. I am giving you really a good. Is it right? Whoever gets highest marks. Listening, everyone. Is it? Yes. See, Alhamdulillah. Is it right? Yes. Whoever gets highest marks in this paper, okay? Trust me, I will never charge fees. I will not charge fees for the next paper. Inshallah. Understand? I will, whoever get, that is the incentive I am giving, okay? That is the incentive I am giving. Inshallah. That is the motivation. Okay. If whoever inshallah gets highest marks will be 50. Is it right? Highest marks will be 55, 60, 65, 50, whatever it may be. Is it right? Whoever gets highest marks for them, for the only that person. Okay. I cannot have another one. Fine. I will not charge fees for the next paper. Inshallah. That is my assurance. You work on that. I am with you. Yes, Faiza, tell me. Done. Okay? Inshallah. Okay? I will putting hard for you. Okay? Inshallah. That's very important. Because see, Alhamdulillah, we have done the best. Is it right? And I am going to make this for every module whichever I am teaching. Every batch. Is it right? Alhamdulillah. That makes people to work and that makes people to understand. Is it right? You have to perform. Okay? At least that incentive I am giving you. Okay? Fine? Now. Okay? Take this word, remember this. Inshallah, we will succeed. Okay? Your success is my success. That's very important. That's why I told you. What is the non-current assets? Okay? Non-current assets says that evidence relation to non-current register. This is the first and foremost source of evidence. Next, we are talking about a depreciation. Is it right? Non-current asset depreciation. Definitely, sometimes we will sell. When we are replacing, when we are selling of the assets, we will have profits and losses. The auditors have to check these 3 points technically. Okay, explain the objectives and what is the procedures in relation to the closing balance. Fine. Now, exclusive. Now only focus. Till we complete this, you focus only on non-current assets. Property, plant and equipment. As simple as that. Is it? Tangible non-current assets. What you did, you won't have the evidence. With respect to evidence on statement of profit and loss. Whether we have calculated depreciation as per the requirement. Whether we have shown gains on losses as per the things. If there is any disposals and is there any impairment. Is it right? There are 2 things. One is we are talking in terms of impairment. Is it right? One thing we are talking in terms of amortization. Any idea about what is difference between these 2? Fast. Tell me very fast. Yes or no? Don't waste time. Any difference between when impairment will work, when amortization will work? Is it? I don't know. You have done financial reporting or not? Yes or no? Tell me fast. Fine. Is it? Impairment is done when there is a limited life. Amortization will be done on those assets where there is a infinite life. Okay? There is a infinite life. Is it right? Limited life. We are doing because non-current assets have a limited life. That is the reason we are talking in terms of impairment. Fine, we will do this. Now, whenever you are going to have non-current assets, is it right? When you are auditing non-current assets, what are the things you will audit? You will audit non-current first, the non-current register. Next, we are talking about depreciation, any disposals, gains or losses, and any impairments. Fine. This much is there. This is the chronology. Is it the same process? We are talking about the assessing the risk, controls, deficiencies, is it? Deficiencies, internal controls, and if there are risk assessment is high, we will do. If risk assessment is high, we are doing substantive procedures. If risk assessment is less, we will do a restricted procedures. Fine. Now, what we are doing is that see, this is very very important slide. Why it is important? We are talking about the assertions. Is it right? What the non-current asset we have done in the previous case also, if you remember. Is it right? In lecture 7, you have existence. You are talking about completeness. You have the rights, accuracy in terms of calculation of depreciation, additions or disposals. You are talking about the presentation. Is it right? Put the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Existence. Existence means you want to make sure additions are acquired in the year end. Any additions we have done, any disposals we have done. Is that any additions, any disposal? Exclusively we should show it separately. Is it? Not only in the total, but we have to identify a schedule we have to prepare. Record assets represents those in use at the year end. What is the existence? Existence is nothing but an occurrence is nothing but any additions, any disposals during the year. Is it right? Any additions represents or any disposals scrapped during the year. What is the thing? Recorded assets. Which are the assets are in use? First point. Completeness. All additions and disposals in the year have been recorded. That means what happening? The moment you are talking about non-current assets, what they are focusing on the additions, they are focusing on the disposals. Is it? Balance represents the assets at the year. Rights, whether you own or you lease, that is very important. The entity has the right to the assets purchased and those recorded in the year end. Is it? Rights and obligations means whether you are owning or you are not owning. We have taken it on rent or not. Is it right? If you have taken it on rent, if you have taken it on lease, we should not show it. We have to show only those assets where you are going to have the ownership. Accuracy in terms of what? The moment you say accuracy, mathematical accuracy. Is it right? What we are doing accuracy? You have to recalculate depreciation. Is that non-current assets are correctly stated at, see, this is what it says. When the moment you say accuracy, it is nothing but mathematical factors. We are not doing anything else. Is it right? Math means recalculation. Is it right? Mathematically, I will put it here if they have not done. Is it right? What we are doing? We are doing recalculation. Recalculation. Okay. Next. Disclosures relating to the cost. Is it right? Additions, anything. Is it right? Addition, disposals, depreciation. You have to disclose it. Is it right? Useful life, whether it has been we have taken the financial lease in accordance to the accounting standards. Is it right? Again I say, first thing is what are the additions and disposals during the year, which assets are there in use. Second one, whether we have recorded all the additions and disposals, completeness, whether we have the rights over the assets recorded, that is the rights and obligation. We have done the depreciation, is it right, in terms of accuracy, classification and valuation. And the last one is disclosure and presentation. Fine. These are the 5 exclusive assertions here. If they ask, they will ask on this only. The following slides set out the procedure for tangible assets. Remember, these are substantive audit procedures. Don't get confused. Is it? Don't get confused. This is not a test of controls. Is it right? This is not the test of controls. This is what? This is substantive procedures. Fine. Now, again, they have given you so many things. Fine. They gave you so many things. They will not ask you. They will ask you substantive procedure. For completeness, make it a point. You decide which one you are going to write. Understand? You have to decide exactly before examination. Yes, these things I will. See, what assume. Is it right? Assume. See, like this, I am telling you. You are what you are doing, completeness. Is that you say, you make it a point, reconcile the schedule of non-current assets with the general ledger. They will not ask you anything more. You have to write this point, very important. Is it right? Now, likewise, you decide what are the things you are going to do. Is it right? What is the substantive procedures? You prepare a summary of tangible non-current assets. Is it right? You have to prepare a summary. What is the gross value? What is the accumulated depreciation? And what is the net book value? This we automatically do in the financial statements. Is it right? We will say property, plant and equipment. We say it is the less accumulated depreciation. Then we'll say that net book value. That's all. We are not doing anything else. Is that? We are not doing something different apart what we have done in your financial statement. Compare non-asset current assets in the general ledger. No, this is not working. Is it right? It's way. Compare non-asset current assets in the general ledger with the non-current assets register. Is it? We have to general ledger and we have to make the difference. What happens next? For a sample of assets, we have to know what if they exist physically. With whom we have to compare? We have to compare with the register. Is it right? We have to take the register. We have to go to the place. Physically, we have to inspect that this is the non-current register. This is non-current register are in place. If the non-current register is not kept, is it right? If there is no non-current, obtain the schedule. We should not stop the work. Is it right? We have to obtain the schedule of original cost and depreciated value of the non-current assets. All are easy. Fine. You have to, you select your own. You select it, say that for the completeness, I will say that I will compare non-current assets in the general ledger with the non-current asset register. Done. That much you have to write. You are not supposed to write anything beyond this. Completeness. Is that existence? Is that again in the same process? Understand? Again the process is same. 1, 2, 3, 4. You take any one. Okay. Confirm that the company physically inspects all items in the non-current assets register. It's very important. Non-current assets register. Every non-current current asset will have its code. Understand? And will have, if you are working in your office, you find it at the back of the non-current asset. You will have a barcode. Understand? Every non-current asset will have a barcode sticker on that. Fine. Inspect assets, concentration on what? Focus on the high value items. Is that means? And inspect that they are in use, in good condition and have the correct serial number. Just now I told you barcodes will be there. Is that? You have the barcodes. Means you inspect high value items. Fine. Review records of income yielding assets. Definitely, what happens? You are talking in terms of property, plant, is equipment. Equipment is there, machinery is there. Is that when you are talking about the machinery? Inspect, review the records of that machinery. Is it right? That machinery exists. Machinery in good condition. Is it right? Machinery is good condition. Machinery have its coding is there. Depreciation has been done properly. Is it right? They have presented in the financial statements in a right classification. Is it right? You have to make it. And ultimately, you should have a reconciliation. Don't write reconciliation every time. Okay? In one question, one time reconciliation is good. Okay? Because everywhere you will have reconcile. Okay? Every point we have reconciliation. Don't say that reconcile. Last one, put reconcile. Okay? Last one, put reconcile opening and closing vehicles by numbers as well as by the amounts. Is it right? That is where we are talking in terms of existence. What is the valuation? Valuation is nothing but you should have. Is it right? You should have the very simple high value items. Is it? High value item. You have to get the certificate. Is it right? Because what happens in most of the assets, is it right? In most of the assets, what happens? You will have the insurance. Whenever you will have the insurance related to a non-current assets, we should have a valuation certificate. consider the reasonable valuation should not be on the higher end. Is it right? It has to be done by whom? It has to be done by a experienced person, by a expert. We are taking the help of whom? We are taking the help of expert. You have to do what is the scope of work done, how they have valued it, what are the assumptions they have used, and whether valuation is in line with accounting standards. This much you should not go in detail as such. Is that you have to say that it has been done by the expert. It has what is the scope? What is the scope means how they have valued, how much they have covered the assets specifications. Fine. What are the methods? Whether it has been as per the accounting standard. Reperform calculation. Is it reperform? This is what it says. Where we have used this reperform. Is that we have used reperform, recalculate. Where we have used this one? Any idea? Somewhere we have used in lecture 5. This is
response.
This is part of analytical procedures. Is it right? Reperform calculation. Reperformance is very, very important. Reperformance of depreciation. Is it right? Recalculation. Is that inspection, observation? Is it right? These are the things which we have to be very specific. Confirm whether valuation of assets have been revalued and updated. Is it updated? There is a policy. It is a policy of 5 years. It is a policy of 3 years. Is it right? You have to discuss. You have to ask with the finance director. Is it? This is where we are talking about the valuation. Valuation or the what? Valuation you should have certificate. Valuation it should be done by the expert. You make it there. The valuation consider reasonable of valuation reviewed by an expert. That is sufficient. Scope of work, methods and assumptions you can add. It can increase value. Is it right? Reperform calculation of the surplus and subsequently you have updated. And you should make it very clear. Is it right? You should make what is the policy of revaluation. Is it right? You cannot do as per your wish and will. Is it right? You should make whether the revaluation is done at the end of 5 years, every 5 years, every 3 years. It is that should be the policy that has to be reflected. Fine. Now, what is the procedures to test valuation? Inspect drafts accounts. Is that whenever there is a revaluation, is that there will be a revaluation surplus. Is that there will be a revaluation surplus. Either there will be a revaluation surplus or if the value is less, there will be a impairment. Is that there will be a impairment? Is that you should know whether if there is a revaluation, what happens? Definitely revaluation is a gain. Is it right? Is a gain. What see you have to be clear about all these things. Nominal account. Nominal account says that debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. Is it right? You have to make why we are crediting it. Is it right? They say that in the statement of profit and loss, revaluation losses, unless there is a credit balance. In respect of what? In respect of that asset. Is it? You should make it sure why we are having the credit. Is it right? Now, to cancel the credit, all revaluation gains should be credited. Is it? All revaluation gains should be credited. As per which rule? As per the rule which has been given here. Fine. Review insurance policies. That's where you see insurance policy gives you a very clear picture. Is it right? You are having the car. Is it right? Everyone is having the car. Now what at the end of the year, what insurance, when you go for a renewal, you go for an insurance policy at the end of each year, what they will do? They value the car as per historical cost. Is it right? As per historical cost, they value the car. They value the asset as such. And as a part of the thing, industries, companies, every other asset will have a insurance cover. Every other asset will have a insurance cover. Review the policies in force for all categories of tangible assets and consider the adequacy. You are not saying all categories. Is it right? For a sample, okay, for a sample of assets, review insurance policies. Understand? For a sample of assets, we cannot cover all, okay, for a sample of assets. This is what it says. This is nothing but it is going to call it as a substantive procedures. Is it? This is called as a every way. What you are doing, we are talking about substantive, means substantive procedures. We are making it in a detailed way. Fine, in a detailed way as such. That there also we have a substantive procedure. Fine. Now, what it says that you are talking about rights and obligations. So you are saying that this is the asset I am owning. Definitely, the auditor will ask where is the certificates, where is the registration document. Is it right? We are talking that we are having a land. Is it right? Immediately, first what they will do, they inspect the title and they will see the certificates. If there is anything, is there lease agreements. Means they want what? In all the cases, they want evidence. Detailed evidence is nothing but a substantive procedure. As simple as that. Is that? With detailed evidence. Is that detailed evidence? Now you can understand control, test of control, substantive procedure. Control is what that is in place. Test of control, we are going to make sure that the controls are effective or not. Whereas substantive procedure, we are going into a evidence. Is that? Substantive procedure is evidence. This you just keep it in your mind all the time. Is it? All the time. It makes things easy. They will ask one question on substantive procedure. Obtain the certificate from the solicitors. Is it? From the lawyers, from the bankers. Is it? You get it. Is it? And for which deeds are being held. Is it? Whether they have taken their deeds are free from mortgage. Whether the asset is on against the loan. Is it right? Against the loan. It is there. Is it? It gives you a picture. What is the picture it will give? It will give you a evidence that you have the right, complete right on the asset. Inspect registration documents for what? Vehicles. Confirming they have in the client name. See, is it right? See, if anybody has, maybe it is a part. If I am purchasing a car on loan, what I will do? Is it right? My name will be there. The finance person name will be there. The moment I will repay all the loan, next time renewal will happen, the car will be transferred on my name. Okay? That is the procedure. Is that you have to inspect. Confirm all vehicles are used for the business only, no personal use as such. Is that? No person. Subsequently, what they are saying, examine the documents for the titles. Is it? That's what it says. We want the evidence as much as possible. See what they are doing? They will ask purchase invoices. If you are constructing, you have any land, buildings, is it? You will ask for architect certificates. You talk about the contracts. Is that hire purchase or lease agreements? Is that you want make sure that things should be in place. Review the evidence of charges in statutory books. Is that in the legal books, in the financial statements, there should be evidence that they have a charges in terms of any legal expenses. Review if it is going to be on a lease. Is it review lease on leasehold properties that fulfill that yes, company has fulfilled convenience, means the obligations. They are paying lease payments properly. Is it right? They are paying lease payment. It is agreed. It is an operating lease. Is it? It is agreed that it is an operating lease. You should go through the lease agreements and examine the invoices after the year end. Is it right? This is nothing but the rights and obligations. This is nothing but it also talks about what? It talks about the completeness. Is it in review after year end and orders from the board? Why we are talking about the board? Board, it is a capital expenditure, capital commitments. Is it right? Capital commitment will be having a huge amount. Is it right? It will have a huge amount. That is the reason we have to take into consideration board. Is it right? Now, what is the procedure for depreciation? Is it right? Last year depreciation, current year depreciation. Fine. As simple as that. If current year depreciation has been increased, you have made additions. If current year depreciation has been decreased, you have made disposals. If any revaluation is done, depreciation will increase. Is it right? Any revaluation is not done, depreciation will decrease. Is it? Now, what it says, you have to review depreciation rates. First, you have to talk about the rates. Is that you have to take into consideration residual values. Is that you have to take into consideration? You have to take into consideration residual values. You are talking in terms of replacement policy. Is it right? Past experience on gains and losses on disposals. And most importantly, we should have a consistency, comparison, accounting, okay? Consistency, comparison. We should have a consistency in the what last year has done, we should follow the same structure. Is it right? What happened in the last year? Is that what happened in the last year? You have to follow the same structure. Is that same structure? Please download the recording which I have uploaded today morning, because today again I will remove that recording and I will upload this one. Is that I will upload this one, non-current assets. Review non-current assets register to ensure that depreciation has been charged on all assets with the useful life. Very simple, isn't it? What is the cost minus scrap divided by life? That's all. See, you have to link what we have done and how it has going to be reflected. Fine. For revalue, any assets which has been revalued, again you have to calculate depreciation on the revalued amount. Is it? Any assets has been revalued, you should calculate depreciation for the revalued amount, and you recalculate depreciation on the sample of revalued assets. Is it? What are the depreciation? Depreciation is 3. Is it? I think, is it? It still is there. Fine. Is it? Depreciation, what it says? You are talking about the depreciation rates. You are talking about the residual values. You are talking about any disposals, any gains or losses on disposal. It should be consistent. Fine. You have to review the non-current asset register with the depreciation, because non-current asset register, I am repeatedly saying this, is the source of evidence. Is it? With respect to the life of the asset. Any revaluation is done, the depreciation should be charged on the revaluation. Fine. Reperform calculation. See, you are having how many? Again, I am saying, because every time students will ask, should we write all? I will say no. Okay, I will say no. You have to write one which is important, which you know. This is not, there is nothing like important, is it right? Which you know, which you can present perfectly, is it right? Most of the answers, they say that they will re-perform calculation of depreciation. We will do examination questions. You will come across this. Re-perform calculation of depreciation. Is it? Compare ratios of depreciation to non-current assets with what we are doing with the previous year. These two will be there. Is that? These two will be there. It is easy to understand, easy to remember also. Fine. Now, that's what it says. You have to re-perform, you have to compare how much we have done last year and how much we are doing this year. Scrutinize accounts to ensure that depreciation policies and rates are disclosed adequately. You have to make, is that? You have to, whether you see what happens if the depreciation is increased, is it right? If depreciation amount, is it right? If depreciation amount or depreciation percentage is increased, depreciation percentage will increase, is it right? Depreciation percentage will increase, what will happen? Depreciation amount will increase. If depreciation amount will increase, what will happen? Profits will decrease. Fine? This is the linkage. That is the reason depreciation is so crucial. Is it? So sensitive with respect to non. For a sample of fully depreciated assets, inspect the non-current register to ensure that no further depreciation has been charged. Is it? For fully depreciated means fully for one full year, whichever assets has been done. For a sample of assets, it has to be inspect with the non-current register to ensure that depreciation has been fully charged. Okay. Now you make what we are doing. We are talking about the evidence. That's what substantive procedures is, nothing but the evidence. Verify in terms of what? In terms of additions. Definitely it will be there. Is it right? Any additions are there. Is it right? Any additions are there in terms of buildings. Is it right? In terms of buildings specifically, what you have to get? You have to get the architect certificate, engineer certificate. Is it right? Engineering certificate completion. Is it right? You have to get the suppliers invoices, any other documents. Is it? If you have done with respect to any other buildings, is it? You have to say that whether it is a expenditure related to capital. Is that? If it is capital expenditure. If it is a capital expenditure, you have to show it in a non-current assets. If it is a revenue expenditure, you have to show it in the repairs. You have to differentiate. Is it right? You have to differentiate what is the capital expenditure and you have to differentiate what is the revenue expenditure. Only capital expenditure. Is it right? Only capital expenditure should be shown in non-current assets, either in terms of register or in terms of ledger. Is it right? Any revenue expenses should be in that. We are not focusing on revenue expenditure at all. Fine. Inspect non-current assets account for a sample, for anything, for a sample of purchases. Is it right? For a sample of purchases that has been properly allocated. Now see that. Revise this. Okay? Revise this. Very, very easy. You have so many points. Whenever you are revising it, you make it a point. Is that the moment I will send you this, you identify what you are going to write when you come across this type of question. You stick to that one, you revise that point again and again. Don't say that we are going to work out all the points. It is not the way of they will give so many options for us. When you do the things, what is further? what evidence, if you gather what further evidence, how we can going to have an assertions. Fine. Ensure that claims for the grants, if we are receiving any grants from the government, is it right? They have received or receivable. Is it right? We have to make it sure that, sometimes what will happen, it is there in financial reporting, is it right? You will receive government grants. Is that when you are receiving the government grants, you have to inspect the documents. Is that? And definitely, if we are receiving the government grants, what will happen? You will have, it will be transferred to the bank. Is it right? Means whenever you have a non-current assets related to the grants, is it right? What will happen? First, you will have non-current asset register will be there. Then you will have the grants register will be there. Then you have a bank statement will be there. Whatever the grants you will receive, it is related to the non-current register. It is going to be credited in the bank statement. So if it is 10,000, here you are going to show that non-current register, you are going to show 10,000. In the bank, you are going to show how much? 10,000. That is the evidence. Is it right? That is the way of evidence. Verify that additions has been recorded in the non-current register as well as the general list. Means both the things should go side by side. Now, assume what we have done, we are talking in terms of self-constructed assets. Is it right? We are talking in terms of self. We have constructed buildings. Is it right? Assume you have constructed building. Is it? You have constructed your own factory. Is it right? You have made a construction. Is it right? When you have made the construction, definitely what will happen? There will be a materials, there will be a labor cost, there will be overheads. Is that verify? Is it verify materials? When you say I have constructed, you have verified the invoices. Ensure that they have been correctly charged to capital account. Is that capital means this is the one point. Is it right? See, this is the easiest point also. Is it right? You have to make that whether it is allocated, it is identified, is it right? It is properly charged to capital expenditure and shown in the non-current register and general register. This much if you write now, it makes very simple. One point is enough for each and every category. Is it right? For self-constructed assets. Is there other relevant documents with respect to us? Review the cost. Is there labor cost, material cost and overheads to ensure that no profit element has been included. Is it again you have to do management accounting. Is it right? What you have done in management accounting, you have direct materials. Is it right? You have direct materials, you have direct labor, you have direct overheads. Is it right? You have that. Then you will call it as a prime cost. Is there? Then you will have works overheads. Is there? Overhead. Then you will have administration overheads. Is it? You will have selling overheads. Is it? Then you will have a total cost. Is it right? Then you will have the profit. When we will do profit? When we are selling to others. When we are doing for ourselves, there is no element of profit. Is that? There is no element of profit attached to it. That is why we have to be very specific. Review the accounts to ensure that if we have taken any loan, finance cost should not be included. Is that have been capitalized or not capitalized on a consistent basis. Whether you have capitalized the finance cost, you have not capitalized the. You have to have one policy as such. Is it right? One policy. If you want to capitalize it, capitalize with what? I will tell you this one. Is it right? You have taken 10,000 loan. Is it right? You have taken 10,000 loan as such. Now you will have on that you will have interest. Is it right? Assume that you have interest of 100. 10,100. Is it right? Now you want to show this 10,000 as a asset or you want to show 10,100 as an asset, it has to be done consistently. Is it? So in some case, this is all individual. Is it right? But whatever you are doing, it has to be clearly presented. Is it? Clearly presented. And cost capitalized in period do not exceed the total finance cost. Is it right? How much is that? This is there. 10,000 is the loan amount. Is it right? 10,000 is the loan amount. How much is the interest amount? Interest amount is 100. Is it right? It will be totally not how much? It will be 10,100. You cannot say that I am paying interest of 11,000. Is it right? You cannot say that I am paying an interest of 11,000. When you are borrowing 10,000, you have to pay interest proportionately. Is it right? When we are disposing of, is it right? In the previous case, we are talking in terms of self-constructed. Before that, we are talking about additions. Is it right? What we have to do in terms of additions, what we have to do in terms of self-construction, and what we have to do in terms of disposals. Definitely, when you are disposing of the transactions, transfer of property will be there. Got my point? Disposals with supporting document. Transfer of property. What transfer of title will be there? Is it right? Transfer of title. You will have the sales price when you have done the sales and how much is the payment. Is it right? First and foremost, what you are doing, we are talking in terms of documentation. We are talking in terms of transfer of title. Definitely there will be a sales price. You will have the dates and you have the payment. That is the first evidence we are doing. The second one, you will recalculate. Is it right? You will recalculate. You will do, as an auditor, you will do. Is it right? As an auditor, you will do to convince yourself. Is that to assure that, yes, recalculate profit on disposal to ensure that it has been done correctly. Consider whether proceeds are reasonable. You have, is it whether you have sold the product at a reasonable price? Is it right? You should not, you should not sell at a higher price, or most likely you should not sell at a very lesser price. If the asset was used as security, means what is the security? If you have taken the asset on loan or against the asset, is it right? Against the asset. Is it right? Against the asset is a security. Is it right? If you have taken any loan. Is it right? Against the asset, if you have taken any loan, we have to be very, very specific about it. Fine. Means if you have taken any loan against the asset, before you dispose of that asset, you have to pay the loan, then you have to dispose it. Assume, take an example. You have taken a loan, car on a loan, is it right? You cannot sell the car unless we pay off the loan. Is it right? That is what we have to understand. Review any board meetings. Because whenever we are selling the assets, whenever we are disposing the assets will usually have a higher value. Is it right? They will have a higher value. In that case, you have to get the approval of the board that yes, these disposals can be done during the period and they were authorized, and most importantly bona fide. Bona fide is nothing but yes, it has the right to sell. Okay, that right, that you can sell you can dispose of that asset, means that specific asset. Bona fide means what? A specific asset is set aside for the disposal. Is it right? These points, is it right? These points we have to understand. Is it right?
Mister,
Yes, tell me.
what do you mean by this word, disposals?
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Good. You ask me, I am very happy. Okay. Whenever you will sell, whenever you sell an asset, selling an asset is otherwise called as disposal.
Okay, clear.
Is it right? Now, we have additions, means what we are doing whenever you are purchasing an asset. Is it right? Purchase. Ask me, I'm very happy. You have the additions. Whenever you purchase an asset, it is going to be identified as a classification in the addition. Whenever you have a self-constructed asset, is it right? Whenever you are disposal, whenever you are selling the asset, replacing the asset. Is it right? Replacing the asset, selling the asset. Is it otherwise called as a disposal?
Clear.
Fine? Good. Ask me. That's very important. Is it right? Others will get also benefit. Is it right? Now, see the things. See the importance of this topic. Fine? See the importance of this topic. Fine? They have evaluated in 2018, 2019. Now you have 4 exams now every year from the 2018 or 17 or 18 onwards. Every year in 2 examinations they have. Is it right? They have done in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2018 is there, 2016 is there. Is it right? Every other exam they will evaluate in a year, they will give non-current assets. Is it right? It will be in the section B. Okay? Is it? Audit evidence is a form of substantive. What I told you, substantive procedure. Substantive procedure is nothing but the evidence. That has to be clear in our mind. Is that other things will automatically it will be easy. Okay. It is a substantive procedure tested in every sitting in the exam. Therefore, it is the most important for that you first understand between substantive procedures and test of controls. Secondly, financial statement assertions. Is that completeness, rights and obligations, accuracy, existence. Is it right? You have to understand these things. Is that what are the things? When you suggest audit procedures, substantive procedures, it is vital that they are sufficiently in detail. Don't just write 1 or 2 sentence answers. 1 sentence. Specifically 1 sentence answer. You write, you see, as simple as that. You have to add some spice. Okay? You have to add some spice on that, then only it will work. Is it right? Right. Lot of time will be there. Don't get panic. Lot of time will be there. The moment you find, you struck it up. Okay? You struck it up. Definitely you go to the another answer. Don't waste time that I want to complete this and then I will start the next one. You write what is there in the mind, just you throw it on the system, as simple as that. And lastly, when you are revising it, is it right? Once it's done, you are revising it, then you add whatever is missing. There are 2 things are very important in ACCA. One, you have to attempt full paper. Understand? We have to attempt full paper. The second thing is you have to make sure that you should not write 1-line answers. Is that these 2 things you focus on that, things will be easy for us. Is it? Now, what they say, for example, discuss, we have done this also in the previous case. Stating discuss with the management or check for the existence is too vague. You have to vary. Would a real auditor be able to go away and complete the audit accounts with tests such as this. Means you should not be in vague means we should not write general, we have to write very specific. If you are saying depreciation, reperform the calculation. If you are saying depreciation, very specific, what are the additions, what are deletions, is it right? If there is any depreciation, we have to say any revaluation is done. If revaluation is done, depreciation has to be done on revaluation. Like this you have to write. We should not run like that. If you have done depreciation, you should know what is the depreciation rate is consistent with the previous year depreciation rate. Is it? This is where we have to be very specific. Additions, yes, what are the additions, what are disposals? If it is disposals, you have to recalculate the profit on disposals. And if you have done disposals, you have to make sure that disposals has been posted in the profit and loss account. Is it right? That is what it says. If you are saying it is done with respect to the addition, you have to see non-current asset register. Non-current asset register with the general ledger. Be very specific. Okay? Small points, it makes a lot of this. As a general rule, when asked for auditor procedure, see the thing. Don't use, is it right? See, this word you should not use anywhere in the question paper. Keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. You should not use check. Auditor will never check. Auditor will only verify. Auditor will only inspect. Is it right? You must use the words. Is that inspect, discuss, observe, recalculate. Getting your point? You should be very clear. Now you have to be very clear about that. Is that you should never use ensure. Is it right? If it is red is there, I will use that. Is it right? If it is red is there, I will use that. You should never use check. You should never use ensure. Is it right? You should never use these things as such. Is it right? Is it? It's make the things very grim. Fine. Now you have what they say. You have to use inspect, observe, discuss, recalculate, reperform. Is that right? Examine. Is that? Those are the verbs. Keep it in mind. Keep this for our observations. Write down. If you are having a notes, is it right? Write down on one of the papers. Generally, you should assume 1 mark for each. Fine. Questions on audit risk and response may require you to apply the knowledge you gain from this chapter. Fine. Now, is it right? Fine. Who left? Aisha. Is it clear till now? Tomorrow I will do receivables and inventory. Okay? Tomorrow I will do receivables and inventory. First I will do receivables, then I will have a break for 5 minutes, then I will do inventory. Okay, that is the way. On Saturday I will do examination question paper. Okay, this is the very clearly. Now we every way we should be very clearly defined what you are doing this week and next week. Probably next week we will complete. Okay, probably once we complete, I will see before examination. I will slow down the things. Okay, I will focus more on revision as such. Is it right? Automatically, slowly, I will be out of the picture and we will get involved. The moment the examinations are coming, I will be very active on WhatsApp group. I will just, the moment I will identify any time, I will give some question, I will type questions, you have to type the answers. Is it right? That is the revision. Is that WhatsApp group? I always keep some questions on the WhatsApp every day, 5, 6, 7, any questions. The moment I am realize, I will put one question there. You should answer it. Is it right? You can answer by seeing the lecture notes also. It doesn't make any difference. But you have to answer. The moment you answer, it will be easy for you to remember. Fine. Now coming back to this, what they are saying, it is an example question. Okay, it is not examination question. Is it right? It is a specimen question. Bollitley Beach Hotel operates a hotel providing accommodation, leisure facilities and restaurants. Its year end was 31st October. You are the audit senior of Mario and Company and currently preparing an audit program for the year end audit. Okay, you are reviewing the notes. Is it right? Audit notes last week between the manager and the director. Fine. Where two material issues are discussed. They will do like this. Is it right? They will. I have. If you. I should not tell. But if you take lecture quiz 5, I have done like this. Is it right? In quiz 5, I have done like this. Scenario based questions. They will do. Their depreciation. This is entirely related to depreciation. Okay. And the next one is related to what? Nothing is there. This is only related to depreciation. Bollitley incurred significant capital expenditure during the year on updating the leisure facilities for the hotel. The finance director has proposed that the new leisure equipment should be depreciated over 10 years using the straight line method. When you say the things, whether what is the depreciation, they are saying that a capital expenditure, is it right? You should think in terms of what? You should have to think in terms of what are the additions. Is it right? You have to think what are the assets are in use. Is it right? What are the assets? You have to think what is the depreciation policy. Is it right? Depreciation policy in terms of percentage. Is it right? You have to think updating for the hotel. You will say what is the capital expenditure and what is the revenue. Okay. Capital expenditure should be capitalized. Is it? Capital expenditure should be capitalized. Is it? Now that's what we have to, the moment we come across things like that, a small note we have to put for ourselves. Is it right? A small note, just write like this. In the examination they will give you paper. Is it right? Paper and pencil will be there. Just write down in a short. Yes, these are the points we have to write. It makes things easy for you. Okay. Now, what is the substantive procedures to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence? 4 marks, 4 points. These are 4 marks, 4 points. They are as simple as that. You have to additions are in use, depreciation policy, depreciation amount, depreciation what we have to calculate. And in the end, is it right? In the end, don't forget, you have to mention reconciliation. Reconciliation of non-current asset register with general ledger. In the end, don't write, okay? My goodness, my students will write in the beginning, okay? Don't write in the end. Whenever you are doing reconciliation, that has to be the last point. Understanding what? Is it clear? Now, first start with additions. Are in use. 5, 4. You will get more. Is it right? What they say. See the thing. Obtain an analysis of the expenditure to ensure that they have been adequately capitalized. We have done this, is it right? We have done this. What we have done? Capital expenditure or not. Is it right? That's the very simple. Is it? Rather than it has to be expense. Second one, what they have said, policy for depreciation. Is it right? Over 10 years with where the industry is following which method. Is it right? Industry is following. If industry says 10 years, fine, you have to follow 10 years. Hotel industry, leisure industry, is it right? Competitors, what they are doing. Is it? Review the gains on losses on disposals during the year. Is it? Whether we are having a reasonableness of the depreciation policy. See, they have done how many points? This is the first point. Is it right? Is it right? This is the second point. Is it right? Second point. And this is the third point. Is it? This is the third point. Fine. For a sample of leisure facilities, additions. For the additions, you calculate depreciation charge. Perform a proof in total. Is it? Perform a proof in total. Why we are doing this? We are doing it to know the accuracy. To know the accuracy. Last one, inspect draft financial statements with respect to disclosures and presentation, both in terms of what? In terms of non-current assets, in terms of depreciation policy. Is it? Now you understand? First you have to know what is the capital expenditure. Simple, very specific. Is it? We have to talk about the depreciation, whether as we have done as per the industry standards. Any additions? For additions, we have to recalculate the depreciation. We have to do the retotaling, proof in total, and draft financial statements for disclosure in terms of non-current assets as well as for the depreciation. Fine. Now, describe the substantive procedure of storage and perform year-end to confirm plant and equipment additions. Is it right? Means again, see, they have taken it for, they have taken, where is the scenario for this? We'll wait. I'm not getting the things here. Describe substantive procedures of storage should perform at the year end. Fine. Note that the question states plant and equipment. So make sure that plant and equipment. Fine. Make sure that do not include tests related to property. You are asked for substantive procedures, so do not include test of controls. Fine. There are 2 marks available in total. You will be able to score 1 mark per each well-explained procedure. Make sure your tests are sufficiently precise and detailed, as vague answers will not score very well. Fine, no problem. In additions, inspect a sample of additions. Inspect a sample of additions. Section B, question 6B. Section B, question 6B. Fine. Okay. Fine. Section B is question 6B. Okay. Fine. They have given section B's question 6B. Fine, okay. Is it right? If there are anything related to the at the end of the year that plant and machinery have equipments. Is it right? They have any additions to plant and machinery. Is it right? If there are any additions to plant and machinery, what they have said, if any additions to plant and machinery, inspect a sample of additions that are physically present. Okay, inspect a sample of additions to ensure physically present. What is the second point? If you are talking about plant and machinery additions, is it right? Cast the list of additions and match the total to the way non-current asset register. Is that you cast the list of the additions and you see what it has been done in the non-current register. And you have to make sure that draft, why you see, you should ask me this question, is it right? I'm expecting you. Why we are saying all the time draft financial statements, is it right? Draft financial statement means it is before year-end audit. Is it right? It is before the year-end. When it is before year-end, it is in a draft format only. Is it right? After year-end, once it has been signed, then it is going to be called as a approved financial statement. But if it is not signed, it will be in a draft mode only. This word will come again and again. You have to write this. I thought of, I'm expecting that you will ask me this question. Is that draft financial statements? Fine. Draft financial means it is not yet, it is in the preliminary stage only. Recalculate the depreciation for the year for a sample of addition. Because what they have said, here they have mentioned very clearly. Is it right? What they said that you have to mention only with respect to what? You have to mention only with respect to additions. Is that only with respect to additions you have to do? Is it right? That is the reason we are calculating what? We are calculating depreciation for a sample of additions. Is it right? We are making sure that it is we are casting for the additions. We are taking a sample for additions. Is it right? We are inspecting a documentation for the additions to whether it has been have the rights and obligations. We are inspecting board of director meetings to ensure that the capital expenditure of new plant and equipment was authorized. Is that they are asking any two? They have mentioned how many? They have mentioned 5. Is it? Which are the simplest one? Is that simplest? You have to choose the simplest one which is going to make sure that, is it right? Which will be repeated all the time. Inspect the additions to ensure physically exist. Fine. Next, what is the, is it? The easiest way to identify, recalculate the depreciation charge for the year for sample of additions. Whether it has been done with the depreciation policy or not. Okay, this is the things how it has to be worked. Now, what they are asking another question. Describe 2 substantive procedures external auditor of Bloomsbury should adopt to verify each of the following. Is that valuation? See, valuation 2. Is it right? Valuation 2. Is it? Verify for each of the following. People will say 2 substantive procedures. They will say fine. They think it is 2. No. For valuation 2, for completeness 2, and for the rights and obligation 2. How many are there? It is going to be 6 marks. Is it right? It is going to be how much? See. For this question is testing your understanding of the financial statement assertions. Is it right? There are 6 marks are available. You have to have well explained. Make sure that you only provide procedures. Is it right? You do not include test of existence, for example. Is it right? Means you should not say occurrence and existence. Is it right? You are specifically asked for two procedures. So do not do more than do. This will you will not get any credit for doing this. Okay? Don't write 3. See, very simple. 2, 2, 2. Assume. See, we are human beings. Assume unfortunately, is it? 1 is wrong here. Nothing will happen. Is it right? Nothing will happen if something is wrong with respect to the things as such. Fine. Okay. The answer has more than 2 procedures for assertions. Is it right? Next. Fine. Next. What is the valuation? Fine. They are talking about valuation. They are talking about completeness. They are talking about rights and obligation. Here they have given 3, 3, 3. Is it right? They are given 3, 3, 3. Now, if we are talking about the valuation, is it right? What we have to do? Valuation is that you have to obtain a schedule. Schedule is nothing but the list, primary list. Is it right? And you have to know whether the amount is capitalized or not. Is it? That is most important thing. You have to get the schedule and only capitalized amount. Is it right? Only capitalized amount. Capital expenditure. Is it right? Now you can see the importance. The capital expenditure is very important. You schedule it. Either get the schedule of the list of the things, sample, confirm the capitalized to whom, with whom you are comparing with whom? You are comparing with the purchase invoice. You are confirming with what? Purchase invoice. Means one side what you are doing? You are taking the schedule and you are matching the schedule with purchase invoice. First one. Second one, if anything has been revalued, is it right? If for the properties revalued during the year, you have to have a revalued amount. With whom? With the valuer. See, we have done this. Is that who will value? Expert will revalue it. Is it right? Expert will revalue it. We have to make sure that what is the scope, why there is a purpose of revaluation, what are the assumptions they have done. Revaluation should be done by the expert only. Understand point? Whenever you are doing valuation should be done by the expert only. No way the valuation is done by the staff or valuation will be done by the auditors. If it is done by the expert, what is the scope, objectivity, assumptions, qualifications? Understand one? That's very, very specific. If it is done by the expert, scope, objectivity, assumptions and qualifications. We are talking about what? We are talking about the accuracy. Is it right? We are talking in terms of what? We are talking about accuracy. Prove the total of what? Depreciation. Is it right? Prove the total. Compare this to the actual charge to confirm that charge appears reasonable. Percentage of depreciation. Is it right? You are doing the proof for the total. What are the things we have done? Schedule with the purchase invoice. First one. Valuation by the expert. Scope, objectivity, assumptions and qualification. The third one, you have to do the proof in the total of depreciation. Is it total of depreciation, total of plant and equipment? Is it right? You have to do, and what is the net book value that has been shown in the non-current register and in the general ledger with respect to the financial statements. Is that 2 points? completeness, you have to make sure. Is it right? Again, what happens? You have to make physical inspection. For a sample of property plan selected, 5 physical inspections, you have to go back to the non-current register. Is that? See what happens. In the previous case, I have written the same thing somewhere in one of the lectures. Non-current register with physical. Is it right? We are doing this process. In the second space, what you are doing? We are taking physical and going back to non-current register. Is that? We are taking for a sample. Is that? Here the sample will be different. Here the sample will be different. Is it right? To confirm that it has been included. For a sample of property, plant and equipment selected, 5 physical inspection, trace this back to what? Non-current. Now you can understand when you are saying it is traced back to non-current register, this is the first source of evidence. The moment I will repeat, I am repeating very purposely. Understand point? I am repeating purposely because the more I repeat, the more you remember. The more I repeat, it is a now. Perform a review of expenditure accounts. Is it right? Now what you are doing? You are making a completion. You are making what we are making. What is the capital expenditure and what is the revenue expenditure? Revenue expenditure is nothing but repairs, maintenance, testing. Getting away? So that you should make it a point. Is that review a expenditure accounts? Is it right? Now and select a sample for further testing. Is that? And you ensure that this cost has been expensed. Expense means what? Profit and loss account rather than it is capitalized. Reperform the calculations. Is it? Reperform the calculations for the accuracy. As simple as that. Non-current assets to the general assets. Is it? If you are coming across any differences. What is the first one? First one we are going from a non-current asset register to the physical inspection. Second one we are talking in terms of a capital expenditure and the revenue expenditure. And the capital revenue expenditure should be expense to the income, profit and loss account. The third one what you are doing? You are talking in terms of what? Reperformance. See the thing. Every time. Never see the moment you write reconciliation in the beginning, forget about the marks. Even it is correct, it is not appropriate. Reconciliation should be the last one. You just make it a point. If you don't, you write it. If you don't find anything, last you write reconciliation. You keep that as in your handy. Is it right? It is like the wild card. Last thing you have to, if you are not getting 3 points, you are getting 1 point. You are not getting another point. Then you put reconciliation. Fine. It will be worked. Fine. See, it's very easy. It's not difficult. Very simple. Obtain what is the rights and obligations? You have to obtain the schedule of property and plant and confirm that it has been capped. That's why now, if you own the asset, is it right? If you own the asset, then only we are going to capitalize. Fine. If you don't own the asset, we will not going to capitalize. Is it right? And if you own the asset, you will have the purchase invoice. Inspect the title deeds. Is it right? If you are owning the assets, you will have the title deeds. Fine. To ensure that it belongs to Blueberry. For any lease assets, what you have to do? You have to get the lease agreements. Is that? Whether it is a financial lease or it is a operation lease. Understand what? This is a complete baggage. Okay? Complete package of non-current assets. Focus on this. You revise any time. but before you go to the sleep, take 15 minutes and do it. 15 minutes, okay? Make it sure. Take my everywhere, is it? Take my words, rights and obligations, 1, 2 and 3. Is it? Just it's now, the moment you will revise it, hopefully inshallah things will be very, very specific. Okay?